Your body is doing something bizarre right now, and you have no idea.
In 90-minute cycles, your brain decides what actually happened, not records it, decides. By morning, the version in your head isn't the version you lived. That's not a glitch. It's the whole point. The brain isn't a camera, it's an editor. Every night while you're unconscious, it runs a cut of your day, trimming some frames, amplifying others, stitching scenes together in an order that serves you better than the raw footage ever could. If you don't understand how that editing works, you're at its mercy. The memories you trust most, your relationships, your decisions, your sense of what actually went wrong last Tuesday are being shaped by a process you've never seen. So here's what's actually happening in there. First, a map of the terrain. Your night's sleep isn't a flat stretch of unconsciousness. It runs in cycles, roughly 90 minutes each, 4 to 6 per night. Each cycle has the same basic architecture: lighter sleep, then deep slow wave sleep, then REM, rapid eye movement sleep, and back again. But here's what most people don't know. Those stages aren't evenly distributed. In the first half of the night, your cycles are dominated by slow wave deep sleep. In the second half, the hours before your alarm, REM takes over. You get far more of it. That split matters enormously. The two stages do completely different jobs with your memories. Think of it like a two-shift factory. The deep sleep crew in the early hours does the heavy lifting, moving raw material from a fragile short-term store into something more permanent. The REM crew in the later hours does the fine work, sorting, connecting, deciding what the finished product actually means. Cut your sleep short by even 90 minutes, and you're almost entirely firing the REM crew. You keep most of your deep sleep, you lose most of your editing suite. Here's how the first shift actually runs. When you experience something during the day, a conversation, a near miss in traffic, a fact you read, the hippocampus grabs it. It's a curved structure buried deep in each temporal lobe, and it acts like a temporary holding pen. It can store a day's worth of experience, but it's volatile, fragile. Don't do something with those memories and they fade. During slow wave deep sleep, the hippocampus replays those experiences, literally firing the same neural sequences again in compressed form up to 20 times faster than real time. Neuroscientists call these events sharp wave ripples. They're bursts of coordinated electrical activity that ping the cortex, the brain's long-term storage, and say, keep this. Think of it like transferring files off a USB drive that's about to be wiped. The hippocampus is the drive. The cortex is the hard disk. Sleep is the transfer cable. Skip the transfer, and the files are gone. And here's what makes this stunning. The replay isn't random. The hippocampus prioritizes. Emotional weight, novelty, and relevance all bias which files get sent first. The mundane stuff, the color of a stranger's coat, what you had for lunch on an average Tuesday, often doesn't make the cut. That's the first edit. But moving memories is only half the story. Here's the part that actually changes how you understand your own life. During REM sleep, your brain isn't just storing what happened, it's rewriting the emotional label attached to it. That rewrite has a specific mechanism. Coming up, REM sleep is strange. Your brain is almost as active as it is when you're awake. Your eyes dart, your body is paralyzed, a safety mechanism so you don't act out what you're dreaming. But one thing is almost completely shut off: noradrenaline. Noradrenaline is the neurochemical of stress and anxiety. It's the thing that makes a bad memory sting. During REM, your brain essentially turns off the tap. Matthew Walker's lab at UC Berkeley describes this as overnight therapy. The brain reruns emotional memories, but in a neurochemical bath stripped of the stress chemical. You process the content of the experience without reliving the full emotional charge of it. The analogy is a surgeon operating with gloves. The gloves let them handle the material, examine it, work on it without direct contamination. REM sleep lets your brain handle painful memories without re-traumatizing itself. What comes out the other side isn't the original memory, it's a version with the volume on the distress turned down. You remember what happened, but it doesn't hit the same way. Studies measuring this effect show that after a full night's sleep, people rate the emotional intensity of upsetting images significantly lower than they did the evening before, not because they forgot them, because the tag changed. That's the second edit, and it's why the same event feels different after you've slept on it. Imagine this. A combat veteran wakes at 3 a.m. every night reliving the same moment. Not a faded memory, a full sensory replay, the same sounds, the same fear, the same physiological spike of adrenaline as the first time. That's not just trauma, that's a broken editing suite. Researchers studying PTSD have found that REM sleep in these patients is disrupted in a specific way. Noradrenaline doesn't drop the way it should. The overnight therapy session runs, but the anesthetic isn't working. The brain re-experiences the memory at full emotional intensity over and over. Each replay can reinforce the distress rather than reducing it. This is why some PTSD treatments now specifically target sleep, including a blood pressure drug called prazosin that blocks noradrenaline receptors and helps restore the REM neurochemistry. When the editing suite works again, the nightmares often reduce. The extreme case shows you the stakes of the normal case. Your nightly REM editing isn't a luxury, it's what keeps your emotional history livable. So you've got the hippocampus transfer, what gets kept. You've got the REM emotional recalibration, how it feels. But there's a third thing your brain does during sleep that most people have never heard of. It's arguably the most creative thing your brain ever does. It connects memories that were never stored together. Here's something that sounds like fiction but has been demonstrated in controlled experiments. In a 2004 study published in Nature, Ulrich Wagner and colleagues at the University of Lübeck taught participants a maths task. There was a hidden shortcut, a pattern that, once seen, made the task 8 times faster. Participants were tested immediately after learning, then again 8 hours later. Some slept in that window, some didn't. Those who slept were nearly 3 times more likely to have discovered the shortcut, not because they practiced it, because their sleeping brain connected the dots their waking brain had missed. This is the third edit, association. While the cortex receives replayed memories from the hippocampus, it's doing something the hippocampus can't. It's cross-referencing. It notices that this new thing you learned today rhymes with something you learned 6 months ago. It finds the structural overlap between two experiences that seem unrelated on the surface. Think of it like a librarian working the night shift. During the day, books get dumped on the returns cart, no time to shelve properly. At night, the librarian puts each book away and in doing so notices this one actually belongs next to that one from last year. The connection was always there. It just took the quiet of night to see it. This is why solutions appear in the morning that weren't there the night before. Not magic. Cross-indexing. And it explains why sleep deprivation doesn't just make you tired. It makes you literally less capable of original thought. You're not running on empty. You're running without the part of cognition that generates new connections. None of this is accidental. Evolution doesn't maintain expensive processes without a reason, and sleep is expensive. You're vulnerable, immobile, and burning significant energy. Something very valuable has to be happening. The leading theory, supported by the work of researchers like Robert Stickgold at Harvard Medical School, is that the brain evolved sleep editing to solve a fundamental problem. Storage is limited, but the world is noisy. If you recorded every sensory input from a waking day with equal fidelity, you'd be overwhelmed. You'd remember the texture of your keyboard and forget the face of the person who threatened you. That's a survival disaster. So the brain evolved a triage system. Emotional salience is the main sorting criterion. Things that matter to your survival get priority. Novelty is another. New information that updates your model of the world gets flagged. Repetition is a third. Things you encountered multiple times get reinforced. The editing isn't distorting your memories out of malice. It's optimizing your internal model of reality for future decisions. You don't need a perfect record of the past. You need a useful one. The trade-off is real. The useful version and the accurate version aren't always the same thing. Your memory is a predictive tool dressed up as a recording device. It was shaped that way across millions of years because prediction is what kept your ancestors alive. So here's where that loop closes. You started this thinking sleep was downtime. It isn't. It's the most cognitively active editorial process your brain runs, and it shapes the version of reality you wake up believing in. 3 things are being decided every night. First, what gets kept? The hippocampus transfers the emotionally and novelty-weighted highlights to long-term storage. The rest fades. You don't control the filter, but you do control what you expose yourself to in the hours before sleep. High-stress inputs close to bedtime tend to bias the filter toward threat. Second, how it feels. REM sleep recalibrates the emotional charge on your memories. Every hour of REM you lose to an alarm, to alcohol, to late-night light exposure is an hour of emotional processing that doesn't happen. Alcohol is worth singling out here. It suppresses REM specifically. That's why drinking before bed leaves you emotionally flat or irritable the next day, not rested. Third, what connects? The cross-indexing work happens mostly in late sleep REM. Cut your night to 6 hours instead of 8, and you're cutting the part most responsible for creative insight and pattern recognition. The practical takeaway is specific. Protect your full sleep window. Not just enough hours to feel okay, but enough to complete the late morning REM cycles that do the editing. Same bedtime, a dark room, and no alcohol within 3 hours of sleep if you want the emotional calibration to actually run. Your brain is going to rewrite today, tonight. The question is whether you give it the conditions to do that well.
If your body still confuses and amazes you, subscribe. We explain every strange thing it does.